loves you when you're successful. Everyone loves a winner. I guess that's a perfectly natural human trait. You know, though, being popular is such a good feeling. I really get it now. I missed out on all of that in high school, but I can see how that lure of fame really keeps people motivated through hardship. And it is so much better for your family to see you as successful than as a failure. My family has seen both, and I guess that has its own lessons too, but I do love my kids seeing us successful so much more. Because, you know, when times are hard for a long time, you really start to doubt yourself. You know, I did.
Nothing can stop me now. Nothing will hold me back.
Rafay never did, but I definitely did. And it becomes so valuable to honor the people that worked through all of those hard times even more. The people that were there for you and they believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. There is also a clear moment usually when you have this feeling that you have momentum. I felt that when I did my first show for the Unity song. It was a halftime show for our supporter and our collaborator, Yaya. He had organized this it was a nice charity cricket event in Karachi. And his event was in this stadium. It was a nice stadium, a big stadium with Shahid Afridi, who's a famous cricketer, and these other few celebrity cricketers, and everyone was really excited. Security at that time was really tough, and there were almost no big-scale outdoor events that I can remember. It was a nice evening and it was not too hot, and everyone was really excited for something positive. I mean, everybody loves cricket. So we all go, me and Rafay and Syra and Zayan, and we sat in these comfy chairs for this fun game, and the players were all having a really good time. They were goofing off, and I was the halftime show. I was performing at the halftime. And I, hadn't really prepared anything. I thought I was doing a quick interview, and I knew nothing about it. I couldn't really get any info, just that I was being interviewed, but as it turns out, there was no interviewer, and it was just me staring down the barrel of a nationwide live broadcast. And my Urdu still isn't very good. It's tutti putti Urdu, and it was, only charming for a quick moment. So I was speaking to the crowd, saying how happy I was to be there, and, I have no idea what else to say.
Assalamu alaikum. और आज मेरी बहुत पसंद है, आज मेरी बहुत खुश हैं, क्योंकि मेरे बहुत अच्छी दोस्त याया साहब बहुत अच्छी गेम में देख रहे हैं, और मेरी बहुत पसंद है Pakistan cricket.
But I was being very hopeful and the crowd was responding, and I started randomly singing a song, How Odd, you know, and then I sang it again, you know, not my proudest broadcasting moment, but in my defense, as I looked out into the massive stadium at halftime on camera live, the crowd started coming my way, and the entire stadium seating was starting to empty and just like head straight for me. It was like this rush. The camera was being rushed and the stadium crowd was just, you know, starting to run, like fully book it, like heading my way. And if I looked scared on camera, it's because I was watching behind them, behind the camera, this whole place just start running towards me. And, you know, I was thinking of my kids, my son, he's 4, he was little. I was, you know, there was no place to go. I was trying also not to fully lose it on live TV. I'm thinking of the camera crew, and I just, you know, said, Shukriya, Shukriya, thank you everyone, and I ended way too soon. I was just looking for my kids, and I, you know, gathered them up, and somebody ushered us into this control room, and so there was this room that was where the, I think it was GeoTV was doing the live broadcast, and we were in this control room. But everyone came there too, and the crowd started pounding on these glass doors. This was a glass room. They were trying to get in. And these glass doors were shaking, 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 and there was hundreds of people, and they were just, you know, smashed up against these glass doors trying to open the door. And, you know, it was pandemonium. You could see there wasn't security. You know, it was clear the security that they hired was, you know, they were overrun. You know, it was a stadium of thousands, and I mean, maybe 20,000, 30,000 people. And it was scary. You know, it was scary. I was my heart was beating really fast. We moved into this other back room with the female Geo Sports broadcaster, who was, by the way, so chill. I did not feel chill, but she was just, you know, listening to this massive pounding at the doors and listening to this chaos without any police and security. And it really felt like this continual massive ambush smashing at the door. So I'm there, and Syra and Zayan and this broadcaster, and we're just there kind of almost cowering in the back of this control room. And so we just wait there, and they cancel the event. The rest of the cricket event is over. They have to cancel the broadcasting. They cut transmission. All of the broadcasting guys are packing up the control room, and we waited it out. We were just waiting in this back room, which seemed like, you know, for hours. In the pandemonium, my son lost his shoe in the chaos, and I was holding on to him for dear life. I held on to him for fully 2 hours in the back of this control room. And, you know, it was just another example of a group of people organizing something good. And because of lack of support, it was a disaster. And, you know, we were okay. We were let out after everyone left, cloaked in the burtas and hurrying to waiting cars. And, you know, everyone was trying to do a good thing in Pakistan. And everybody who ever tries to do something like this, they have that feeling of abject failure. It never occurred to me that I had just fully humiliated myself on national TV at the same time. You know, I saw that broadcast, not a good moment. But, you know, I was learning these lessons from a resilient nation. I became resilient. we picked ourselves back up over and over, as everyone does in Pakistan. And we went on to fight another day, and it was so many lessons in resilience that, you know, my kids learned, I learned during that first performance trip. Some days are fully humiliating. Some days are so exhilarating. Most days are a combination of both when you're doing a big project like this. And it leaves you at the end of the day always, always grateful to return to the arms of your family. You know, cuddling my son who doesn't care what show we were on, that I humiliated myself on TV. He doesn't care about that. He wants to play and live in the moment, and thank God for that. It was our saving grace. And you wake up the next day and we start back to filming our Unity project. We were on our way to meet local musicians from Sindh province and learn about their instruments, and this was set up by an up-and-coming camera crew. You know, one that did not lack enthusiasm and courage, and you know, we were going to need that later on during this day. And this is my favorite part, meeting local musicians. I mean, I know it was staged for this, you know, filming, and they had arranged it, but these are real people and real experiences, and it's so genuine. We head to this local village outside of Karachi, and you know, everyone was a little iffy about the location. We were worried about not being able to protect me. We just had a few policemen to be our security for the day. And it was at this point kind of, people knew that there were kidnappings, and people kind of knew who I was, so my kidnapping rate was going up, and enough to really make it worth it to do it. And our family 100% said, do not go there, it's not safe for you, you can't be protected, you know. But if you do go, you have to leave before sundown. And this production crew had done a good job. They had arranged a whole bus of actors to be part of the day, and there was all this equipment and lighting and boom cameras, and it was very professional and quite a setup, and it was such a beautiful place, and I loved it. I loved meeting the musicians. I loved talking and hanging out with the actors. I loved, you know, dancing with the bhangra players, and we shot the whole day in this beautiful village, and everybody worked really hard, and it was the last shot of the day would be in this central village, and it was this enclosed place where they were setting up all of the lights, and the actors were preparing, and the sun was going down, and you know, Rafay was rushing them. We got to go fast because, you know, they could imagine how long it would take to set up this massive light poles, and there was going to be this beautiful scene in the village, and you could see it was really nicely thought out. But as they were setting up, suddenly the mood shifted. Pretty abruptly, things got very tense. And Rafay was running from place to place in a rush. He was speaking to these local leaders one after the other, and it was just really tense all of a sudden. And people did not know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. And the two makeup artists were speaking in like very hushed tones, and they kept looking out of the makeup van as they were doing my makeup to the rooftop of this village houses where we were in the middle of. And Rafay came in and he said in a very even tone, "Don't panic, we're all going to be okay, but, you know, look up at the rooftops." And I glanced up, and surrounding us on every side of the rooftops were what I could assume were local militia. They were in the sharpshooter positions, lying flat on the roof with their big machine guns placed perfectly and their eyes in the viewfinder. And every one of them was motionless, and there was 10 or 12 of them that I could see just with my eyes. And, you know, I couldn't even look behind me, and I suddenly didn't want to. And Rafay said, "We are on our way out. I am talking with the leaders. We just need to quickly try to get out of here. I need you to sit in the middle of the van, duck all the way down, and hide under this blanket." And, you know, each of the two film producers, the filmmakers, were on either side of me. And later, I heard that was because they were going to take the bullets instead of me. And they were so brave and heroic, and it was such a testament of their character. And Rafay was talking to the police crew, and they were actually saying their last prayers. They resigned to their fate, al-dil kursi, and there was nothing they could do, and that they even tried to do. They were outgunned and outnumbered in that firefight. And we sat. I sat underneath a blanket in the middle of a van, surrounded by 12 militia with their eye in the viewfinder for, I don't know, 20 minutes around. And Rafay was gone for a long time. He was talking to this militia group. And I never knew that until much later. No one knew. No one knew who these people were. No one knew why they wanted to shoot us. They could have all kinds of different ideas as to why, but no one knew what was happening. And you know, Rafay and I, like months later, we were driving from Boston to New York, and I asked him about it. And he had always been so vague. And he wasn't telling me the full story, I think because it was scary. But the real story was the son of this village was upset that the father allowed our production company to come in and film in this village. And there was this big dispute about money. They charged us money, and the father wasn't giving any money to the son. That was basically what the story was. And Rafay talked to the father, and then he talked to the son separately, and he convinced them to get together, and the dispute was about money, so he brought them together to, renegotiate the terms of our agreement. And Rafay said he would give them some more money, and then he talked about this big, massive American contingency, this new massive team of business. And, Rafay used his skills of de-escalation. It was really the international trait of greed that got us out of there. Rafay asked for safe passage for our crew and our actors, and, he got us out. The tribal leaders drove the crew out of the area, and the cops, who were so scared, asking for the Quran verse, they were, had their sirens on so loud, they were like, joyous to get us out of that village. And we, flew the whole way with the sirens on all the way back to Karachi. And, Rafay said that at the time he was talking to the policeman who was thinking of his son. He was afraid. He said, there's no way we can survive this. And he's looking up at these militia. And Rafay said, he told the police crew who were freaking out at the time, he said, this is the true test of your faith and ours. And it was.